John Pierpont Morgan was born in the bustling city of Hartford, Connecticut on April 17, 1837 into a family deeply entrenched in the world of finance. His father Junius Spencer Morgan was a successful banker who had carved out a reputation for himself in both American and European financial circles. From an early age young John was immersed in conversations about investments, loans and the intricacies of banking as his father often discussed business matters openly at home. These discussions planted the seeds of curiosity within him, sparking a fascination with numbers and commerce that would shape his future. Growing up, John was not particularly drawn to academics, but he possessed an innate ability to grasp complex financial concepts with ease. His education took him across continents, first to the English High School of Boston, where he excelled in mathematics before moving to Switzerland and Germany for further studies. It was during these formative years abroad that he developed fluency in multiple languages, including French and German, skills that would later prove invaluable in navigating international markets. Despite being groomed for a life in finance, John harbored no grand illusions of immediate success. He understood that building a legacy required patience, discipline, and above all resilience. After completing his education, John returned to the United States eager to make his mark. His father secured him a position at the New York banking firm Duncan, Sherman & Company, which served as his introduction to the cutthroat world of Wall Street. The environment was fast-paced and unforgiving, yet it suited John perfectly. He thrived under pressure, learning quickly how to assess risk, negotiate deals, and cultivate relationships with influential figures. Every day brought new challenges, but each challenge also presented opportunities to grow sharper and more astute. It was during this period that John began to carve out his own identity separate from his father's shadow. While Junius focused primarily on conservative investments, John displayed a willingness to embrace calculated risks, believing that bold decisions could yield extraordinary rewards. This mindset set him apart from many of his contemporaries and laid the foundation for what would eventually become one of the most storied careers in American history. Little did he know then that his journey was only beginning, and the trials he would face would test every ounce of determination he possessed. In the early stages of his career, John Pierpont Morgan faced a series of daunting obstacles that would have deterred even the most seasoned professionals. One of the first major hurdles came when he attempted to broker a deal between two prominent railroads whose rivalry had escalated into outright hostility. The negotiations were fraught with tension as both parties refused to budge on key terms. For weeks Morgan shuttled back and forth between the executives trying to find common ground, but progress seemed impossible. At one point he considered walking away, convinced that the deal was beyond salvaging. Yet something inside him refused to give up. Drawing upon his natural charm and strategic thinking, he proposed a compromise that addressed the core concerns of both sides while ensuring mutual benefit. When the agreement was finally signed, it marked not only a significant victory for Morgan but also established his reputation as a skilled negotiator capable of resolving seemingly insurmountable conflicts. Another pivotal moment arose during the Panic of 1873, a devastating financial crisis that sent shockwaves through the global economy. Banks collapsed, businesses shuttered, and panic spread like wildfire among investors. Amid the chaos, Morgan found himself responsible for managing assets tied to the failing railroad empire of J. Cook and Company. The situation appeared dire as creditors demanded repayment and shareholders clamored for answers. Many advised Morgan to cut his losses and distance himself from the debacle, but he chose instead to take decisive action. Working tirelessly day and night, he restructured the company's debts, renegotiated contracts, and implemented cost-cutting measures that stabilized its operations. Though the process was grueling and tested his resolve to the limit, Morgan's efforts ultimately saved thousands of jobs and preserved millions of dollars in investments. This experience taught him the importance of staying calm under pressure and reinforced his belief in the power of perseverance. Perhaps the greatest trial of all came in 1907 during what became known as the Bankers' Panic. A cascade of bank failures triggered widespread fear, leading to runs on financial institutions across the country. As panic gripped Wall Street, Morgan stepped forward to act as a stabilizing force. Gathering together a group of leading bankers, he orchestrated emergency meetings to pool resources and prevent further collapse. With little sleep and immense responsibility resting on his shoulders, he personally guaranteed loans and intervened in critical transactions to restore confidence in the system. Critics accused him of overstepping boundaries and consolidating too much power, but Morgan remained steadfast in his mission. By the time the crisis subsided, he had single-handedly averted economic catastrophe, earning widespread admiration for his leadership and decisiveness. Through these challenges, Morgan proved time and again that setbacks were merely stepping stones toward greater achievements. As John Pierpont Morgan navigated the turbulent waters of finance, he began to recognize patterns and opportunities that others overlooked. One such opportunity emerged in the railroad industry, which was plagued by inefficiencies, fierce competition, and frequent bankruptcies. Railroads were the backbone of the American economy, yet their chaotic state hindered growth and stability. Morgan saw potential where others saw ruin, and he devised a plan to consolidate smaller struggling companies into larger, more efficient entities. His approach was methodical and visionary. He acquired controlling stakes in key railroads, then implemented standardized practices, streamlined operations, and eliminated redundancies. This strategy not only revitalized individual companies but also created a cohesive network that benefited the entire nation. Morgan's influence extended far beyond railroads. Recognizing the transformative power of industrialization, he turned his attention to steel production, investing heavily in Andrew Carnegie's burgeoning empire. When Carnegie decided to sell his interests, Morgan seized the chance to forge an unprecedented merger, forming the United States Steel Corporation in 1901. At the time, it was the largest corporate entity in existence, valued at over $1 billion.